Good evening. This is Mae Brussell on KAZU FM in Pacific Grove, California. Its broadcast number 678 is December the 3rd, 1984. I want to go into the P2. One of the articles I want to share with you that's very basic to this is out of Italy from the paper Espresso. It was published May the 20th, 1984, obtained through Ted Rubenstein and translated by Jonathan Marshall. And it's a report of the P2 Commission. That's a commission that was set up in June of 1981 to investigate the Masonic Lodge, the secret Masonic Lodge, the P2, and this is part of their report this year. It's been 3 years of work, 3.5 years, and this is what the Espresso tells about their investigation of the organization, part of their report. In 1947, Frank Gigliotti, who was an ex-agent of the Italian section of the OSS, worked with this lodge and worked with Licio Gelli. But in 1947, that's the year the CIA was formed, he goes on to the CIA. He's one of the connecting links important to this lodge and also to Licio Gelli. Frank Bruno Gigliotti studied in Rome in 1941 to 1945. He was the chief advisor to the Italian section of the OSS. The Italian had their own section of our OSS, and then he goes into the Counterintelligence Corps where he meets up with Licio Gelli. Gigliotti is very important. Frank Bruno Gigliotti out of Lemon Grove, California. And he worked with Licio Gelli, the head of the secret team, that propaganda duo inside the Grand Masons, the covered lodge, known as the Propaganda. It began, and then it was combined thanks to American intelligence. Gigliotti worked with the CIA, and later he was president of what was called the Action Committee, formed by the United States to respond to appeals sent by the Grand Orient Lodge and his Masonic brothers to open up the Masonic house of Palazzo Giustiniani. The American members of the Grand Orient Masons made a compromise with the Grand Orient Lodge and the Italian state, and it was sponsored by the American brothers as of July 7th, 1960. Now, 1960 was the year when John Kennedy was to run against Richard Nixon. Nixon, the selected candidate of evidently the Permindex operation and Cardinal Spellman and a lot of powers that be. And when Permindex was set into operation, very important year, they had all the machinery to kill John Kennedy in case Richard Nixon lost the election to John Kennedy. And the American OSS and CIA were reactivating the Masonic Lodge in Italy with Licio Gelli of Hitler's Gestapo and Franco and Mussolini's armies, combining what was the OSS into the CIA in 1947. And by 1960, the American powers be, the intelligence operation, were working with the Masonic Lodge in some way. This article on the background of the P2 says the transactions allowed the Grand Orient in Italy to exist after the war, and it was signed by the Minister of Finance, Mr. Trabucchi, in Italy, Trabucchi, Grand Master Publio Cortini, and present at the table when this group was signed were American Ambassador J. Zellerbach and Frank Gigliotti. Also in 1960, thanks to the brothers, the American brothers in the Masons and friends of the Italian Grand Orient Lodge, another operation was formed, helped by Mr. Gigliotti. They unified and brought together the Supreme Council of the Supreme Grand Lodge. They united the Palazzo Giustiniani and the Piazza della Gesù. Thanks to the American OSS and CIA, the propaganda duo was born. The propaganda part is the secret part, covered lodge, secret from the rest of the world, which is the infiltration or combination or the marriage of the American intelligence community with the Italian intelligence community, and out of there comes your Permindex with the technology and